What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Hobby Hotline Overtime. My name, of course, is Drew, or the DH, and joining me tonight, we've got the wonderful Suze. How you doing?
Hey there.
And we've also got the awesome Ryan Nolan joining the show. What's up, dude? Love the shirt, by the way.
What's good? Thanks. You play?
Oh yeah, tons, man. I was traveling.
I know that. Oh
yeah. What's going on, Rich? Chris Harris. Hope everybody's doing well. What's going on, everybody out there? Hope everybody had a good weekend. But guys, I guess we'll dive right into it. It's a busy week and a pretty awesome week, I know, for a lot of people, as of course we're heading into opening day, 2 days away from opening day in baseball season. And the lead up this year, I think yes, it is, Chris, 2004, Pujols here, buddy, right there. During the lead up, I think we expected a little bit of movement and everything, but the prospects getting called up and the amount of movement that we've already seen before the season even started, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
No, I'm absolutely loving it. I mean, the whole service time manipulation in the past kind of sucked from like a stats perspective because rookies wouldn't get called up at least until late May or even all the way later in the year. And now we have 2 prospects in the top 5, and I think 4 or 5 now in the top 25, with CJ Abrams being another one that I'm super excited about. Don't know for sure if he got called up yet, but he played in the outfield today, and they're thinking he's going to play a middle infield position while Tatis is out and transition to the outfield. So we might have 5 different players all towards the top. And we're already seeing that the change affect the marketplaces. I saw MySubs tweeting out today about, I think it was like 60 or 70 Julio Rodriguez cards moved overnight as soon as they said Julio Rodriguez is getting called up. So now you're seeing the whole prospect modern card cycle where a prospect gets called up. People are rushing out to buy those cards, and sellers who hoarded onto those cards for the past few years are dumping them on the marketplaces.
Yeah, same. It's exciting. I use MLB Pipeline for my prospects for it's free and it's there. And in that list, it's 3 of the top 5 guys are in with Spencer Torkelson, Julio Rodriguez, and Bobby Witt Jr. And the other 2 didn't make it only because they got hurt. So it's really exciting to see all that because the 2021 Bowman's Best controversy aside, these 2022 baseball products that have RC logos on it, it's going to be ridiculous. Like, you already had Wander Franco that was going to have RC logos on them, and now you're going to add in all these other players into the mix. Like, it's super exciting, and it's like the future is here. It's like we've been watching these guys in the minors for quite some time, and now to have them for opening day is exciting. So thanks, Chris Bryant role,
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you, Suze, because you obviously formerly working at Topps, I know you know quite a bit about this. With all these prospects and everything going up and everything being pushed back because of the pandemic and everything, does Topps still have, that same lead time, do you think, and an ability to get all of these guys that, like you said, will probably be up by update and things like that? Did they still have that lead time, even with everything being so pushed back, do you think? Or
one of the things that, despite everything with craziness, whatever, one of the things they were good at was actually preparing for stuff like this. So back when Tatis and Vlad Jr., they were going to make the majors, the cards, especially for some of the big products like the Topps Chrome, they were already made. They were put into production a while ago. And with the idea that this could happen, there's a good chance that it could happen. So I would imagine that, I would hope that similarly to then, they were preparing for this for some of these people, some of these players who were going to get called up. Because like I said, I remember when Tatis I did a signing session with Tatis this season before, the season that he was going to get called up. He hadn't played a major league game yet, and I'm sitting there with him, and he's signing his Topps Chrome rookie cards, So they're preparing for this to happen, and he's signing it. It was at the Topps Industry Conference, whatever year that was, 2017, I think it was. Yeah. So that's February. So in February of 2017, he's signing Topps Chrome cards. So in this case, this is something that they do well. Like they prepare for this. And I would hope that in today's situation, they did the same thing.
I was going to ask also another question, but based off of talking about Tatis, what happens with those cards of players that Topps predicts to get called up the next year? They'll sign their Topps Chrome cards, but they actually don't. They get called up a year or two later. Are those cards discarded, or
they end up in the wood chipper essentially? So
kind of like those Tyler Hero Topps Chrome cards that we saw pictures of that never surfaced. Yeah,
exactly. Like I've seen lots of cards, unfortunately, that happened with, it's like, oh, cool, we got all these cool cards, and they never see the light of day, and they essentially just end up in the shredder.
That's a shame.
It is sad.
Now, speaking of products, do we think the prices are just going to skyrocket on the baseball side of things since all the prospects are going to come in? The breakers are going to increase prices. People are going to buy up the products and resell them really early on? Or
I do. I was wondering about that. Like, we've seen it in football. We've seen it in basketball. And, in baseball, you see it in Bowman. But I think the Topps line, especially like a Topps Chrome, is going to probably see a surge in pricing.
Oh, there's no way around it. This year's Topps Chrome, I mean, when you look at it, let's assume that these guys produce. I mean, I don't think they're all going to be, record-setting numbers right out of the gate. I for one, think, at least one or two will struggle a little bit and then eventually get going. But no matter what, the star power from a rookie level that's going to be in Topps Chrome is going to be absurd. And even when you get to the Topps Chrome update, that's going to be a retail only release. I mean, that stuff too. I think we're looking at, a baseball class, like you kind of said, the youth is here, changing at the guard type of feel, where there's going to be a lot of guys coming in this year that, this has the potential to be one of the biggest classes ever. So it's absolutely going to have an effect on price.
It reminds me of like the 2018 class all over again.
Yes.
And if you think about it, between the Braves, Albies, and Acuna, then you have Ohtani as well. You have Bueller, you have Devers. I'm sure there's other people I didn't mention, but I mean, just alone based off of that, that's a stacked class. Now we're doing that again, 21. It's gonna be interesting to see if we have any lines outside of Target.
Can we do a thing as like a hobby? Like, let's all agree not to overpay for Topps Chrome. Because I feel like every year at Topps Chrome, and listen, I'm thinking back to like 2012 even, like it's like every year with Topps Chrome, you're like, this is going to be the best product ever. And you get cases or you get boxes and you get mid relievers who've pitched in 5 games. Like, yes, it's exciting because you could potentially get this year Bobby Witt Jr. and it's Spencer Torkelson, but it's like, can we all just agree not to overpay and let's as a hobby, let's keep the price where it should be for this type of product.
Well, the funny thing too is
instead of paying more in tax than the MSRP is, I mean, it's
the funny thing is these autographs of, let's say, Bobby Witt are going to go more than like a Bryce Harper 2012 autograph, a Machado 2013, or an Arenado. And we're going to look back and like, are you kidding me?
I think it was 2012. Like I bought a case of Topps Chrome because I'm like, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to pull, I don't remember. I feel like it was 2012. I was living in South Jersey at the time. So it's close to that, but I'm like, I'm going to pull these amazing cards and I'm going to get this and that. I can't even tell you to this day what I pulled from that product because it was so awful. And like, I took such a beating on it. I was like, all right, never mind. That was not fun.
No. Absolutely not. And guys, please call in and join the show tonight. I put the link in the chat right there. So please, if you have any questions, like always, or any comments on anything at all, please call in, join the show. We would love to have you guys on, video or audio. Just click the link. Very, very easy. But what's going on? Paul, Chris, Rich, Sports Card Detour. I hope everybody's doing well. But yeah, it's I agree, Suze. I hope people don't go crazy on this and try and turn this year's Topps Chrome into, flawless for baseball, or something. I mean, it's because if you do, it's going to come crashing back down to earth eventually. Obviously some of the cards aren't, but it's just not sustainable whatsoever at that level. And it's not meant for that. That's not what the product's meant for to begin with. So I agree. Let's get the hobby to band together and not overpay like crazy for Topps Chrome.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it ain't going to work. No. But yeah, so baseball is back this week. I know it's a lot of people very excited. What's up, that 70s card show? I know you're very happy. I'm sure baseball's back as well. But what are you guys expecting from these prospects this year? Who do what do you think out of all these guys? Do you think they're going to perform? Do you think these guys have got what it takes?
The jump between AA or AAA to majors is so large.
Yeah.
It's so hard to predict this type of stuff. I mean, prospect reports can take you so far, but once you get that exposure to major leagues, once you get the exposure to the new lifestyle, all the money coming through, it's hard to predict. I mean, there's been so many number one prospects. I mean, like as a Rays fan, Delman Young was hyped up to the moon way back in the day. And obviously he didn't pan out. And if you look through the last 5 or 6 years, I mean, we could all name off different people that everyone thought was going to be the next greatest thing. Either they become a decent player, not like Hall of Fame tier, an average player, or someone that got, going between minors and major leagues. Not every prospect is going to pan out like this. Now for my own choice, my own gamble, I'm going with CJ Abrams. And the only reason why is when I was looking at his profile, he had 80 speed and he can also hit for average. So I remember a few years ago, the hobby kind of just started going crazy over Billy Hamilton, how fast he was and hoping that he could hit. CJ Abrams reminds me of Billy Hamilton's speed, but someone that also could do decent. And there was a lot of concerns about his power, not potentially hitting a ton of home runs, but we're putting him now also in the Padres lineup, and they have a stacked farm system as well. He is pretty tall. He can bulk up over time. So he's kind of one of those sleeper guys that I actually bought modern cards on and just hoping that he does decent.
Yeah. What about you, Suze?
Yeah, one thing I like about like a lot of these guys who are getting like the call up is that it's not with like sort of big market teams, and I feel like it'll give them a chance to. There's going to be eyes on them. There's going to be pressure, but it's not like you're getting called up with the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Cubs or something that's in a big market team, and it'll give them a chance to to grow and sort of make mistakes, like they can go through a rut or they could go through, a bad stretch and it'll be okay. And like, maybe not, none of them are expecting to come up and like suddenly win a World Series for their teams, So I think that's the thing that I like about them. So I don't really have one that I'm watching to say like, yay, let's see what this guy does. But mostly I'm just excited to see them play.
No, I'm right there with you. I guess mine would have to be Julio Rodriguez, simply for the fact that I have a really big PSA sub coming back with a lot of Julio in it. So start out strong, buddy, or at least hold off until I can get my sub back. Then do whatever you want. But I think you nailed it right there, because it's not. Baseball is one of those sports where the small market, it affects you on some teams, but not a lot. Very few does the team that they're on really matter, because, I mean, let's face it, they'll probably play 90% of them will probably play for 20 teams in their lifetime anyway.
But I'll just say Wander Franco. I mean, I'm a Rays fan. Rays have the worst attendance in the Major League Baseball, yet Wander Franco prices are sky high. So,
well, it's like I'm a Marlins fan, or at least I still try to be. But I mean, all I look at is prospects that are going to be stars for someone else's team in 5 years. Like every time I see them, I'm like, awesome, they'll be great for the Yankees, Red Sox, Astros, somebody in 3 to 5 years, and I'm always right. That's the only thing I'm ever right about. But, I do think going to some of those teams, like you said, not having those massive expectations, just being able to go out there and play is going to probably help them in the comfort level, but also in terms of the hobby. I don't think you're going to see massive swings as much because of the teams they're on and things like that. So, we'll see. But it's good to have baseball back. I know that. I'm ready to go to some games.
Is Mike Trout playing? Is he going to play this year? Like
he's not injured, so he's playing right now. We have a healthy Angels.
Okay, good. I mean, I feel like he needs to play.
Yeah.
DeGrom and Scherzer, though, are out. They're both hurt. Flaherty's hurt.
Yeah.
Who else is hurt right now? There's another big name.
Can't remember. Yeah. So you mentioned Trout. If he doesn't play, let's say this is another year where he's on and off and everything, what do you think? Does that start to creep into his overall legacy and everything? Because me personally, I've I've kind of never really understood where the massive leap from him from a couple other players that I see is, and I would think another season where he's not playing a ton would probably start to, have some people questioning everything overall.
I think there's definitely some health concerns on that side of things, and we see how that can impact the hobby. I mean, you're a Marlins fan, so you know how Stanton prices were a few years ago when he hit 59 home runs, and now look at the price of his cards. Even though like it's some fluke thing, right? Like he got hurt from a hit by pitch, and then he had the 60-game season. He got a little hamstring injury, and then he missed another full season. And his card prices are cheaper than these prospects, right? He's still on track to hit 500 home runs, assuming that he stays healthy, right? That's a big thing. If he's hurt, he's not going to hit 500. But if he stays healthy, he's well on the trajectory for 500. But his cards are cheap. Now, Trout, the reason why a lot of people are liking him, even though he looks slightly above like some of the elite players, is because there's an accumulation of a stat called WAR, wins above replacement. Right. Yeah. And obviously he's done extremely well both defensively and offensively for the first 10 years of his career. He already has, I think, like a 75 WAR. So what a lot of people project is like a 60 or 65 to be a borderline Hall of Famer, and he's only 31 or 32 now.
He's still younger than that.
He's younger?
Yeah.
This is 30. He'll be 30 this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, he still has a long time in his career, even if he does have a minor injury or minor setbacks. It's coming to the point where if he gets hurt 2 years in a row, the hobby is very, very short-term thinking.
Yeah, I think also with him, he got called up at 19 years old. And anytime you get somebody who gets called up at that age, there's automatically going to be like the excitement around it, right? So you get this guy get called up, he's 19. And like, in his first season, he wasn't a rookie. He was a rookie. And he gets the next season, he comes out and like he has a dynamic season at 20 years old, wins Rookie of the Year, goes on to win 3 more MVPs throughout his career. And then like you said, like he got hurt last year and the year before with COVID, and then he was hurt like 2 years before that. And it's just, if he needs to play this year, like he really needs to play, because people were buying his cards because like literally from the beginning of his career, he was getting comparisons to Mickey Mantle. Like I used to cover him when I was a sports writer. I used to live in South Jersey, and his first year that he was in the minors, he was playing for the Cedar Rapids Colonels. And I went out there for a week, and this is what people are saying about him. Like, this guy is the next Mickey Mantle. Like, these are the like legit comparisons that he was getting. You don't hear that about players. You don't hear people say like he's the next Mickey Mantle, and it was a big deal. So when he came up, and he did everything, he lived up to every expectation that was ever put on him. And I think that's what made people really excited about him. But now he just needs to stay healthy.
No, absolutely. And, speaking from the sports writer side, on the opposite side of things, I, at that time, was writing for the East Carolinian, which was the East Carolina newspaper, where he had committed to go to college had he not gone pro. So I was covering him a lot, and actually got to fly out, watch some of his games and everything once he made his pro debut instead of playing for East Carolina, to write some articles on how good he was doing, seeing things like that. And exactly, you did hear those Mickey Mantle comparisons, but I definitely think he needs to play. But Ryan, you were about to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, even in the hobby back in 2011, his cards were really, really hyped up. I mean, I was going after the Diamond Anniversary set.
Yeah.
And he's the only player I still need. I didn't buy it back in the day because it was like $40, $50. In my mind, I'm like, I'm not paying $50 for a prospect and the diamond card. And, it's a $10,000 mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought his 2009 Bowman Sterling at the time for $25. Like, I still have it. It was a 2009 Bowman Sterling autograph. And at the time I was like, I can't believe I'm paying $25 for this card because it's like, oh, he's in the minors. He's never proved anything. And now I'm like, wow, if I only bought more of them at 25.
It just shows you how much this hobby has changed, even just in 11 years. I mean,
you'll never have a player like that sneak through again. You'll never find somebody who's going to be a $25 card like sneak up on you anymore.
Well, Soto was cheap for a long time too, though. He wasn't even the highest prospect on the Nationals. It was Robles.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think you'll see it as extreme as Trout. Suze, I think you're right. That was pretty crazy. I know those Bowman Sterling autographs. I had a couple myself. And got them for crazy cheap and sold them for even cheaper. We got a question here in the chat that figure we'd address from Yakov Strauss. Appreciate it, bud. And what's up, Kevin? But he's asking, is Judge a young Stanton, circling back to Stanton, or is Judge better? So what do you guys think on Aaron Judge? Because, we were just talking about this the other day as we were recording Let Me Get That Potograph about the Judge Bellinger craze. And that really is what set the baseball market back on fire. You had some stuff, but the Judge Bellinger stuff really caught the market back on fire back in the day. But what do you guys think about Judge now? And especially compared to Stanton?
I think I'll let you go.
I'm a big Yankees fan. Love the Yankees.
Yes.
I have a Yankees shirt on underneath my sweater. So I actually, coming up, Judge didn't have the hype around him at all. Like, people thought he's too big. He's too big to run fast. It was like there was a lot of things around him that were like negatives as opposed to positives. And actually got to be at his first game, and he hit a home run in his first at bat. My husband took us to the game because the 96 team was reuniting before that game. So I was lucky enough to be there to see that. But I was going to is he got called up later than Giancarlo did. And I think he overachieved. Judge overachieved based on what people thought he would do in the majors. I think he's a very good player. I hope the Yankees sign him for a very long time. I want his contract to be extended. It's weird because it's like I think overall Stanton's probably at their same ages was the better player. But I think they're both very good. So it's just hard to be like, oh, he's better, this one's better. Like, they're both really good, but I do think Stanton overall is probably better. But Judge has a really great defense, which I don't think you can deny that at all.
Yeah, so career-wise, because Judge got called up later, he's not going to accumulate as many stats. I don't know exactly what age he got called up at, but I try to compare his age and like WAR, home runs, hits to other players, and he's really far behind compared to others. I think just having those few big seasons brought a ton of hype around him. Right now, at this point, Judge is a better player than Stanton. Stanton's a little bit later in his career, but long term, I think when both players retire and we look at the stat totals side by side, we're going to realize how good Stanton was. A lot of people that are near to the hobby or didn't follow baseball don't realize how good Stanton was in Miami, which wasn't even a hitter-friendly ballpark. Stanton, when he's healthy, he hits line drives that are like 2 seconds out of the stadium, monster shots.
Yeah. Judge, he was called up at 24, so it was like a little bit later, and then Stanton was called up at 20 years old. So there's the 4-year gap there, like he said.
It's huge.
That he's going to get back. But like he's playing good now. So.
Yeah. Yep. Appreciate the question out there, Yakov. And if anybody does have a question, please feel free to call in and join the show, or drop a question in the comments anytime you would like. We would love to have you guys on the show. I'll post that here into the chat yet again. But what were you about to say, Suze?
I actually think about back to Judge's rookie year, and like his cards did blow up, but it actually took a while too. Like, it wasn't immediate, like his rookie cards.
Yeah,
it wasn't immediate out the gate. Like everybody was like buying his cards because I was buying his cards, like his rookie cards. And I remember buying I got a heritage auto of his that I actually got in a break with Crack and Wax. But I think I had bought another one for like $25-$30. I bought a Gypsy Queen one for like $25-$30. But it's like they were pretty cheap, at the time. And then I got
it was around Topps Chrome.
And then I was overvalued. I was like outspent at that point, whatever the word is, but I couldn't afford them anymore.
Yeah. I think that was I remember that as well. It really was around like the Topps Chrome time and everything by the time his stuff really started to take off. I think, but Rich Klein, Uncle Rich, jumping in the show, wants you to address something, Suze, and that is he'd like to hear about Montana and also the card show trip last weekend.
I did not go to a card
I
show.
went to Montana.
Yeah, I was like, that was not me.
I was about to say, so not Suze's, but Ryan's card show trip to Montana. So Ryan, I just recently hit up the Men. It was a lot of fun. But how apparently you went out to the Montana show. How was that?
It was travel there was a bit of a pain, to say the least. I mean, it was 9 hours of flights right after working a full day. So that's on that one, because you don't have any connections from Orlando straight to Montana. Yeah. But no, the show is great. A lot of people there, I felt like, were first-time dealers or brought duplicates in their personal collections, and everyone there willing to work with you were at like comps or a little bit below, which was nice to see. The show itself had the highest percentage of kids I've ever seen at a show. It was probably like 30 or 40%. A lot of dads were bringing their kids along with them in the show, and the kids were really engaged. The organizers of the show also had a scavenger hunt for the kids. They had like a Panini loot box that they were giving to one of the kids as well. So they had to go around the show and, mark off and have the dealers sign if they had a card in their showcase. It's cool to see, because all these
Did we lose Ryan? I think we might have lost Ryan for just a minute. Suze, are you there? I think you're on mute, Suze. It looks like you're on mute.
Yeah, I mute it when I'm not on, because
sometimes I think Ryan froze, so we'll let him fix that in just a minute. Yeah, he'll be back here in just a minute. I didn't know if I froze or not, so I just sat there and froze myself. So it happens.
What's cool hearing him talk about the kids is that Rich brings up my card shop experience. Yes. I did go to the card shop this weekend, and while we were at the card shop, for a while, we were there for a while. Like, we know the owners. We've been there a bunch of times. It's American Legends in Scarsdale, New York. And what's cool is, like, when we were in there, everybody who walked in came in with a kid. Like, right. Honestly, it was families that were coming to shop. It wasn't, it was literally not one person. Like, me and my husband, we went with our son. Other people came in. Like, every person that showed up there came with a child, and it was really cool to see, because I feel like we hear, and I'm gonna go on a rant, and I'm gonna give you a hot take on my opinion on kids in the hobby. We hear people who are always like, well, what about the kids? And they're always like upset about the kids. Like, what are we going to do about the kids? And here's my thing about the kids. They're here. They're in the hobby. And like, people are like, oh, it's too expensive for them. But guess what? This is the hobby that they know. This is the hobby they're growing up with. They didn't grow up with the hobby that I grew up with, where I'm buying packs for a quarter. Exactly. This is what we know. This is what they understand. And their parents are taking them to these shows and to these shops, and they're buying them stuff because this is fun and it keeps their kids engaged. And I think that the hobby is okay with when it comes to kids.
When it comes to kids, I think it's better than okay. I've never seen kids as educated. As someone that goes to these shows, and one of the times whenever I'm set up working, I'm either doing something with Vintage Breaks or Gem Mint, and we're doing the Gem Mint PSA stuff. I have 10, 12-year-old kids that come up and talk to me like an adult. They know everything. They know the market research. They've done everything. They know PSA 9, what the PSA 9, the 7, the 6, whatever. I mean, just the education level is amazing. But no, I completely agree, Suze. The kid aspect of the hobby, I've never understood it. And every single person that says that there's a problem with kids in the hobby, it normally is someone that spends most of your time on Facebook. Yes, if you spend most of your time on social media and in groups, of course you're going to think many kids aren't in the hobby, because I would hope you're not spending your time on social media talking to little kids all day about baseball cards. But in person at a card shop, at card shows where you're supposed to be with their parents and everything, that's, the kids are wonderful in the hobby right now. But welcome back, Ryan.
Yeah, sorry, my permit's
Hey, dude, I blew up a computer live on here, so it's all good.
I can't wait to finally get my townhouse next year, it gets better. But where I get cut off at?
Travel. The
Yeah,
travel. Is terrible.
Okay, yeah. So it's funny. It goes back into the kids, anyways, a little bit later. But yeah, so 9 hours to go to the Montana card show. I go there the next day. The show was absolutely slammed, like really, really packed, which I was kind of shocked. It was about 80 tables. The dealers here, I feel most of them were bringing their own personal collection to sell. A lot of them didn't really have super much of an attachment where they're like, okay, I can move it at this price or below comps as well, like versus other shows where dealers are like, the price is the price. I'll maybe take off a few dollars. Everyone here is like, yeah, bundle cards. I'll move them. I'm looking for a new PC card. This is what I'm looking for. And these are my dupes. There actually wasn't a lot of PSA 10s there. It was mostly PSA 9s and raw cards. On the kid side of things, this was the most kids I've ever seen at a card show. I'd say probably between 30 and 40% of the people there were kids.
Awesome.
What happened is a lot of dads were bringing their kids to the show. And the best part is the organizers of the show had a scavenger hunt for the kids. So they had a scavenger hunt. Each of the dealers had to sign off on it. And then it brought them into a raffle for like a Panini kid crate or box. But what was also really cool is a lot of those dealers had to sign off were giving away free cards to the kids. They're like, hey, what's your favorite team or favorite sport or favorite players? Here's some cards. And we're giving away like free mystery bags to them. It was so cool to see how everyone was really, really engaged at the show.
No, I think that's awesome. And, that's what I've seen at the local Hickory shows, the shows here in North Carolina. Scott Hamby, who I saw in the chat earlier, someone who goes to a lot of those shows too as well, and someone that goes to a lot of shows I know also can attest to that, at least in North Carolina. The kid market is incredibly strong, and it's just getting bigger every single week. I mean, when I talked about it with what I saw at the Mint, the amount of kids I saw at the Mint blew me away. And like you said, Suze, the argument about like they can't afford it and everything, like you said, that they don't remember. They weren't alive during that time. They don't remember all that stuff. They never grew up in a time when you could get anything cheaper than what they're getting it for, now or maybe a little while ago. So I mean, it's what they've grown up with, and I just see more educated kids at a very young age getting into this hobby and getting into it with no intention of leaving, like really studying this industry.
No, I agree. That's when you got cut off. You were talking about the kids, and that's where I started with my rant about how I see kids everywhere, and it's great and it's wonderful. And my point is that the kids, this is the hobby they know. Yep. It's like people complain about where what about the kids? Well, what about the kids? Have you actually talked to the kids to get their opinion on like how things are in the hobby? Because I like you said, I think they're educated. I think they're smart. I think that they have so many tools available for them these days that like we didn't have that growing up. We had Beckett. Cool. That's cool. But like what else did we have? But now there's so many tools available and so many things with your phone. Like you can look up prices right there at the card shows. And like you have Card Ladder and you have like all these different tools available to you that kids are also using to be smarter about their purchases and what they want.
Yep. No.
I 100% agree with that. I mean, even from like the card show scene, when I was going to card shows as a kid, there was no card show vlogs on YouTube. You didn't have all these people showing off what to do at a show. I mean, when I was a kid, I would go through the quarter boxes, look for things that were like $2 or $3 in the Beckett book. And that's how I spent my card show while my dad went for his like vintage cards. But like nowadays, you see people flipping cards there at the show, finding deals. And you learn so much by watching these videos. Like, all these kids that are watching these at 13, 14, 15, when they get older, 18, 19, 20, they are years ahead where collectors were in the past. Plus, with all the different resources online where they can learn about different unique sets that they might not know or might not have been listed in a Beckett book. I mean, there's so many resources available to them.
No, I agree. And, that 70s card show, I agreed to an extent that, yes, some of them may be more into more money driven now. But I also see a ton of kids that come up to me and are, subbing cards to get graded. And their reply is always, so I can get this card, so I can go get that card. They want to go get their PC cards. There's a lot of people that are doing this flipping and, moving the cards to get PC cards. I mean, that's what a lot of my moving in the hobby is to get PC cards. And things along that line. So, sure, some of them might be in it for that, but a lot of the kids that I'm talking to, the 7 to 12, 13, 14-year-olds, they're not in it strictly for the money. They're doing this to collect and get some really cool cards of some of their favorite players, get some of those high-end cards that they can't afford to buy the boxes of. That's what I've seen more than anything personally.
Yeah, and the other cool thing that I saw was like when I was at a show, maybe like 6 weeks ago, there was kids who were like giving out free cards to other kids, and it was really nice because it's like, they're not in it. There's like, I don't know, there's no competition there, right? They were just like, oh, cool, you collect cards. And like, my son is 5. He loves Pokemon cards. Yeah. People were more than willing to give him like free cards, and he was over the moon about them because like to him it's not about the value, but when we open a pack of cards at home and if we get like a really cool Pokemon card, he's like, can you look this up on eBay? And I'm like, sure.
Oh yeah, Jude's the same way. Yeah, he's 7. He's the same way.
We save those like super high-end cards. We'll put them in the sleeve and we'll put them to the side, and he plays with the rest of them. Like it's there's a give and take to it all.
And there always has been. That's the thing. I think that there's this like misconception that like people didn't always buy and sell cards. Like that's been the lifeblood of this industry since like it existed. I mean, that's how this industry exists. That's how the secondary market exists, is by moving and buying and selling cards. I think it's like, I don't know. I just think it's weird to kind of put a restriction on who, like, where you draw the line of, if you can sell cards, you're not a collector or not. I mean, I don't know. But I see a lot of kids that if they're selling, it's to put back into the hobby, not to get out of the hobby.
I was going to say, too, look at the dealers at the card shows. I mean, the card shows have been around forever. They're trying to make money. They don't go to a card show to break even. They're there to buy some cards, sell them. They might have PCs back at home. A lot of dealers don't, because they don't want to have their PC mixed with their show inventory. But at the end of the day, they're trying to make some money. Some people do that full time as well. They don't have a normal 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 job.
Yeah. Chris says, he's yet to see a kid at a card show stooped over a dollar box looking to knock off cards off their want list. Chris, you should have been with me at the last Hickory show. I could have showed you about 20 or 30. Then Kevin Jones, soon we'll see some 14-year-old kid walking around with the Burrow Contenders rookie auto he wants to flip. They already are.
You're already doing that.
They're already doing that. So,
I mean, Miami card show that had $500,000 worth of cards.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're already doing that. I mean, we're already there. We're way past that. But
I want to know, where do they get their little cool cases from? I need one of these cases.
Oh, Zion cases. Shout out to Clint, my boy Clint Anderson. Zion cases, the way to go. Zion cases. Hit them up. They've got the absolute best, and they supply the cases for just about every card show there is. So shout out to, there's a lot of good companies, but good friend of mine, Clint. So shout out to Clint, Zion Cases, but great company. Been around forever. But yeah, those are where Pelican also, some really good cases. There's a lot of them out there, but Zion was one of the first, but there's a lot of different ones that are out there that are great. Get one with wheels. Zion has one with wheels. Get the one with wheels. It's a lot easier. After that card show, if it's a successful show, you want the one with wheels. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, as far as kids go, just rounding it back out, I think I think they're stronger in the hobby than ever personally. But something I guess we'll touch on before we wrap up the show, guys. We got about 15 minutes or so left. I wanted to get y'all's opinion on something, and that's that the Panini released their calendar, their updated release date calendar lately, and I haven't seen it this jam-packed in a long time. And it's just football. You have so many releases from all the way from Phoenix to Prism to Flawless and National Treasures, all of that coming out within about a month and a half. I think the total product counts around 10 or 11 in the next month and a half of the last draft class. With all this flood of products coming out at once, what do you think it's going to do to some of these products? Do you think everything's going to be able to hold steady, or do you or do you think some products like Phoenix, for example, are probably going to go overlooked because you're going to be getting back-to-back weeks of Phoenix Prism and Case, Flawless, Panini One. I mean, all this stuff day after day after day.
I think some of the things are definitely going to be overlooked. There's only so much that you can promote at the end of the day. You're a breaker. And as a consumer, there's only so much money that you can spend. Some people have some allotted budgets. Other people have to move some cards to buy some boxes or whatever else they might have to do at the end of the day. And, having too many releases in a short amount of time is going to hurt both the consumers, also some of the breakers and the shops. Because now the shops have to make, inventory space, assuming that they still have some of the other products unless they completely sold out. If you're a shop that sold out, obviously this is a bonus for you because now you can restock your shelves. But if you already have a lot of inventory there, where are you going to put all these boxes? So you have that things, which is tough. Plus now you have baseball season. So all the baseball releases are slowly coming out as well. And then we also have the Zero Cool, which I know it's direct to consumer, but I'm sure there's also shops and breakers that are grabbing some of that stuff as well and trying to move that. So you have a lot of different releases. They're all coming out.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And speaking of Zero Cool, they got their second release out. I saw it at the Mint and put a video up showcasing some of the cards that they had, but they announced their second drop coming out being Jackass with I think probably some of the first, at least national released and public release cards with a TVMA warning label type of deal on them. As there's some content that's not exactly family friendly in there. But what y'all think of Zero Cool's second release being Jackass, and what do you think? How do you think that's going to be receped as a quote unquote high end product?
I'm not sure people are viewing it as a high-end product. I mean, maybe that's just me. I was in like a clubhouse earlier today, and it didn't seem as though people in the clubhouse were viewing it as a high-end product.
That's good.
But you never know how people are. Once you saw what the prices for the V Friends went for, and there was a lot less of that made than of the Jackass cards, though people might go crazy and put higher bids in for the Blind Ducks auction for the Jackass cards because they want to make sure they get these cards because the V Friends went crazy afterwards. Having said that, I like non-sports cards. I enjoy collecting cards of TV shows and movies and actors and of things that I like. And what I do like about this product is they got everybody in it. It's a lot of times Cryptozoic would make product like a Breaking Bad or Supernatural, and you have the main stars.
Supernatural drove me crazy.
Yeah. Breaking Bad didn't have Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul, or maybe I don't remember if Aaron Paul was, but Bryan Cranston was not in it. Supernatural didn't have Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki. They were missing a lot of the big people. But in this case, they did it and they're doing it right, I guess I could say. So there's that.
It's interesting to see a Topps brand is going back to the roots. I know technically Zero Cool isn't part of Topps, it's part of the Fanatics umbrella, but a lot of people don't realize that in the 70s and 80s, Topps made a ton of different releases on the non-sports side of things between movies and TV shows. I don't know why they stopped I think probably in the 90s or so. I know they had some other one-off, non-sport releases, but it's kind of cool to see it circling back all the way.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree. I think it's pretty cool. The cards, like I said, when I saw them, I thought they were awesome. The boxes look really sweet. I've always been into non-sport. I've been saying for about a year and a half. I thought we were headed towards a lot more non-sport releases. I hope we are. I think they're great for the hobby. You're seeing a lot of interest in Harry Potter right now and a lot of other things. But yeah, I love like Rich says, the 66 Topps Batman sets and some of those old school cards. I love it. But yeah, Chris Harris, no BAM, and everything like that. But it's pretty cool. But apparently John says there's 10,000 boxes of this, so it is going to be a pretty big release. So hopefully, I wasn't aware of 10,000 boxes. I said, that's actually pretty awesome. So the price may be a little lower than I was expecting out of this. And if that's the case, then this is going to be a nice release, because I saw the cards, and the cards are wonderful. The quality and everything is phenomenal. So, I mean, if it's somewhat affordable, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the people in the clubhouse, they were kind of just like between $100 and $200 is what
perfect.
They were saying they were bidding at. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, the box alone looks cool enough to be something like that for me. I mean, it was impressive. But we'll see. I thought it was interesting, but when it comes to that flood of products for the NFL and everything, I find it interesting because Panini, I think this. Do you think, Sue's, coming from someone again with a background in the industry, do you think they're putting all these products out at once to try and catch up somewhat of a release date calendar? Because, I mean, if you think about it, they only have a couple of years left with the license. And I don't think they really want to be putting Prism out after the season's over every single year. I think they want to get as back on track as possible. And you saw some months where there was barely anything, if anything at all. And now you're seeing products that normally would come out months apart that are literally days apart.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Just the fact that the further removed you are from the season, I guess, like, the less you forget about it,
Yeah.
So you need to get it out as quickly as possible. It almost feels like Topps in December, when they have to push back all of their products, as they've done for like every year ever. Where like December Q4 is just like jam-packed with products because of similar stuff. They need to get it out before the end of the year. But that's what you're seeing now. And I would imagine they want to get things out as quickly as possible. I mean, football's tough. The Super Bowl was already 2 months ago at this point. And then like the basketball playoffs start relatively soonish. So I feel like they need to get as much out as possible. You're always going to have the breakers. So like things I feel like are always going to sell, but they don't want to sit on product. That's the big part about it.
No, absolutely. And Scott, just to let you know, if you want some Topps Chrome Basketball Overtime Elite, another product I saw at the Mint, phenomenal set. Grab some now, even though it has that ridiculous Topps font that I can't stand. But it's probably the last release that we have to see. But yeah, I do think, as Rich says, the NFL drafts this month. I do think it's kind of funny to see Prism, Flawless, National Treasures, and everything being released as the draft is going on for the next class. It's a weird time we're in right now.
Yeah, I think with all just the sort of logistics, you kind of could forgive them a little bit.
Oh, big time.
And I'm generally not. Usually I'm like, boo, these companies, in my house, not publicly. But I think in this case, because of all the logistic issues, the paper issues, like supply chain and blah, everything you've heard over the last 2 years, like you could kind of forgive them for this. It's frustrating, but I don't know what else they could have done,
Yeah. Yep. I'm right there with you, Ryan.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I mean, at least they're getting the product out instead of canceling it, though. Imagine if they canceled Closer National Treasure, the outcry that we would have in the hobby.
Yeah, no, that would be a problem. At least they are getting those out, and it does at least create almost no off season, so it does keep it in the forefront. And let's be honest, football has been pretty interesting this off season. There's been no shortage of news, so it's shaping up to be a pretty fun season as well. But you definitely, if you're waiting on some of these products, I really don't think it matters which one. I think there's every single product you can name that hasn't come out. It's coming out in the next month and a half. So your release calendar is definitely going to be jam packed. But yeah, so got a couple minutes left here in the show. If everyone has any questions or anything, please feel free to call in, comment on the show. Let us know what you think. Long Fly Baller asked, there's still hope for 2021 Bowman Heritage Baseball? Suze, what do you think?
Nope.
No,
No
yeah,
way, no.
I didn't think so. I didn't think so. I don't think you're going to get that one long five ball. I wish. I loved Bowman Heritage. I've got some Julio. I got a Julio Rodriguez auto from the previous year coming back from PSA soon. I loved that product. But yeah, I don't think you see that one this year.
We're still waiting on Big League Baseball from 2021.
Right. Yep, absolutely. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know how baseball's releases are going to be this year. It's going to be a lot of fun to see. But yeah, the website says a lot of things, and a lot of things change. Before we do wrap up, we'll run back to the Montana show. Kevin wants to know, did you grab any cool vintage cards in Montana, Ryan?
Actually, that show was pretty much all modern. I picked up pretty much one vintage card, but I went back to Baseball Collector to go into his beast. So I got a 63 Ernie Banks, and he didn't have that yet, so I gave that to him. But it was pretty much all modern pickups. The one card I did get that was sort of vintage, and I got this for a steal, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Oh, beautiful. Nice limited. So what's that numbered out of?
Numbered to 25. So my first Jim Brown jersey autograph.
Nice. Game used?
It should be. I mean, it's an older.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Let's see. The enclosed is authentic, is an official NFL game. Yeah, so game used.
Nice.
That one. So I'm super happy to pick up my first Jim Brown with that. It'll go nice with my 5 rookie. So good pair on that one. But it was all modern, man. Like, I wish they had vintage, and I talked to the show promoter, and they're like, yeah, right. But look at the hobby. The hobby's 95% modern, 5% vintage, which I disagree with that take.
Yeah.
That's what they were talking about in there. It's also saying, like, vintage dealers don't give much deals, which I agree on that side of things. They really don't. But, you do need to have a vintage presence at a show, at least, because you need to cater to everyone.
Collect vintage. That's what I say.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. You should definitely have a vintage presence at any card show. That's sad that there wasn't. I know there's a big presence in most of the North Carolina shows and everything, but obviously everywhere's different. Obviously, you said that Montana show was about 80 tables or so, so I could see that being a lot of new collectors also, or new dealers as well.
That's what it was. Mostly newer dealers that brought their PC items that were trying to move it to upgrade or just, sell off stuff because they bought a lot recently. And that was kind of cool because a lot of shows, dealers are like, nope, I'm not taking money off or very little here. Everyone was so loose. They were chill making deals.
Nice. Well, that's what you want from a card show. So that's pretty great. And I do agree. Rich says, didn't you get a really cool Abe Attell card in the mail the other day?
I picked it off on eBay today. So that was a Red Sun cigarette. That's I think it's from the South, but there's like 5 or 10 of those maybe out there. I know there's 2 Jack Johnsons, which are super, super scarce. And I thought I was going to lose the auction on that, but I won it this afternoon. I was so happy. Nice.
Well, y'all, I guess that's going to wrap up this episode of Hobby Hotline. We will be here as always every single Tuesday and Saturday. This Saturday coming up at 11 a.m. Eastern, we do have John Newman, Jeff Denson, and Chris Harris all hosting. So make sure to tune into that show. And of course, you can find all of these episodes on podcast form, normally the very next day, on all platforms, Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. And of course, Hobby Hotline every single Tuesday at 9 p.m. Once again, this Saturday, John Newman, Jeff Denson, and Chris Harris. So make sure to tune into that for all the latest hobby news that comes out this week. But Suze, Ryan, thanks so much for joining the show tonight, y'all.
No problem.
Yep. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you guys Saturday. Have a great one.